the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Third item on our agenda is to appoint members from Districts 2 and 6. District 2, which is part of Lewiston, will be Councilor Zachary Nightingale, who's unable to join us tonight. And District 6, which is part of Auburn, Grand Falls, and Poland, will just be given a switcheroo with City Manager Phil Crow Jr. joining us on the city side, and then resident Andrew Titus joining us on the resident side. So thanks for that.
Make a motion to actually formalize that.
Second.
I hear a motion from Mr. Ward and a second from Mr. Rennie. Any discussion? All those in favor? Please hold your hands for a second so Sandy can grab this. Looks unanimous to me. Great. 9-0. Next up is to elect the chair and vice chair. Do I hear a motion for chair?
I'd like to nominate Alicia Ray, could please?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ward, seconded by Mr. Rennie. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call a vote. All those in favor? It's unanimous, 9-0. Do we hear a motion for the vice chair position?
I make a motion that we have Mr. Ward as our vice chairman.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Titus, seconded by Mr. Rennie. Any discussion? All those in favor? 9-0. Congratulations, Mr. Ward.
Thank you.
Well, thanks. I have to jump back in my book, so give me 1 second. We'll call the roll. Councilor Ray, here. Resident Majerus Collins.
Here.
Councilor Pettengill. Resident Hill. Selectman Rennie.
Here.
Resident Stefanik.
Here.
Councilor Ward.
Here.
Councilor Lund.
Please, Council.
Okay. Councilor Walker. Resident Pelletier.
Here.
City Manager Kroll.
Here.
Resident Titus.
Here.
Selectman Nichols.
Here.
And Resident Heath. 9 folks are here. We will now consider the October 30th, 2019 Budget Committee minutes for approval. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Moved
Second.
by Mr. Nichols, seconded by Mr. Rennie. Any discussion on those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of adoption? Unanimous, 9-0. Jamming through this. Turn it over to County Administrator Post. Yeah.
As this is the first meeting and we're setting precedents, I'd ask the chair to enforce the law requiring everyone to wear a mask at these meetings going forward.
Okay. Administrator Post, do we have extra masks for folks?
Better wear that.
Thank you. All right, we will turn it over to County Administrator Post for the presentation of the 2021 budget.
The budget came to the commissioners with a bottom line 3.6% increase. All departments were very responsible in their budgets. A few of the highlights, due to the end of state police call sharing, we did receive a cost grant for patrol deputies, 2 patrol deputies for the next 3 years. We paid 25% of their salary and all of the health benefits. The new server is arriving for IT. That's paid for over the next 4 years, plus needing to upgrade security that we've discovered. And our new IT director is working hard on that. The building continues to need more maintenance and upgrades. We are getting closer to a bond package proposal. And the bond package proposal so far that we're looking at is heating, ventilating, AC and electrical is $2.5 million. ground floor renovation is $1.5 million roughly. We're looking, getting the numbers for the probate renovation and for new windows in the building. And we'll be looking at that over the next couple of months. Three things that I have continually brought before you that I've been trying to accomplish since I got here. They are somewhat incompatible. First of all was to increase the fund balance. When I got here, there was roughly $300,000. It's now $900,000, and it should be $2 million. Second is to do reserve accounts so that we don't have to borrow money. We're ahead of the game instead of behind. And the third is to keep taxes at a reasonable level. One of the things last year, or this current year, the county tax is based on state valuation. And the state valuation that we looked at when we did the county tax, our tax went from $1.24 per thousand to $1.25 per thousand. 1 cent per thousand based on the state valuation. Anyway, so those three things are still there. And again, we came with the 3.6%. Last year was 5 point something. The commissioners cut the budget. They used more fund balance and the reserve account to bring the tax levy increase down to 0.5%. And as doing that, they obviously decreased my fund balance and my reserve account. Fortunately, hopefully I'll be around long enough to build them back up again. But anyway, so that's where we are. The commissioners went through and they did as a couple of you who were there will tell you, they cut a substantial amount and then increased those revenues. So you have the budget before you. In that budget, as you go into each individual lines, you will see the request, which was the request of department heads and me. And sometimes that didn't mean that I automatically approved the department head requests, but as we talked about it, it was our request together. And then you'll find the commissioner's budget on the lines next to that in the individual budgets. So this is where we are, and with a proposed by the commissioners 0.5% increase.
Any questions from the committee?
One question, thank you. Mr. Post, I was just curious, the letter talked about 4.5% increase in expenditures. And then when I look at the page, it says 3.45%. But you're saying it's 3.6 is the actual?
Okay, you got two different numbers. You got the increase. This was the original budget. And the original budget, the expenditures were 4.5%, but by the time you got to the end line of the tax levy, it was 3.6. And so I didn't change my original letter because that was the letter that went to the commissioners as well as you.
Yeah, but I'm showing it's 3.45% on the first page of expenditures for 2021. The very bottom.
Yes, Mr. President, the one that was presented to the commissioners the other night was the 4.3. So what you're seeing before you is the reflection of the actions that the commissioners took that night. One of the things that I was doing, trying to get up to speed with Councilor Ray, was making sure that everything was in there. During some of everything that we heard that night was in the neighborhood of $148,000 in expenditure cuts that they made, and $200,000 increase on the use of reserves. You'll see those reflected in the revenues as well. So, to your point, Mr. Post presented the same memo that he presented to the commissioners, but I would just point out that the net impact here is compared to last year, they reduced the percentage increase from the 3.6 to the 0.5 consumption.
All right, so that's the number.
Yes.
Thank you, that's what I was really.
Yep.
The bottom line, yeah.
It's a good point. That's the sound bite for anybody that's listening from the public, and I would present to you folks here, because one of the largest challenges from last year was we got into a lot of dialogue at the budget committee level because the grand sum of anything cut was 500. This year, that target is 148,000 the commissioners cut at that last meeting. It was a pretty substantial number.
And it was incredibly responsive to public comment, and the information sharing of how Lewiston, Lisbon, and maybe one other community brought their municipal budgets under.
Right, everybody's nice to really mean that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. That's very good.
For sure. Any further questions or comments from the committee members? Give a chance to the public. All right, and then we'll look at our budget schedule.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Given the discussion that I heard from here, it seems to be consistent with last year, as long as there is no issue with a significant number of people on any given dates, I would make the motion to accept as is.
A motion from Mr. Ward, do I hear a second?
Second.
From Mr. Majerus-Collins, any further discussion?
Anybody know there's glaringly something that's going to be an issue with this? I know
We avoided Halloween this year.
Hell,
so-
we're done before. That's the point that I was making.
Hearing none, all those in favor? It is unanimous, 9-0. Do I hear a final motion?
To adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor? Thank you all.
I guess